Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to a special edition of Movie Goodness here on the KB Radio Network. And this is the review of Universal Pictures comedy horror film Cocaine Bear, directed by Elizabeth Banks. There's no secret here, people. Y'all know that I've been highly anticipating this film. I ever since I first heard of it. I don't know what it was. It was like it was like cocaine to me. I needed my fix bad as soon as I heard about this and just knew the concept. I didn't need to see the trailer or anything. Just when I found out the synopsis of this film, I was blown away. I was really like, man, they made a movie about this, and what is based on a true story? Well, loosely, loosely based on a true story. Cocaine Bear is a film about an American black bear that ingests a duffel bag full of cocaine in the year 1985. The film has an ensemble cast of Kerry Russell, O'Shea Jackson Jr., or you may know him as Ice Cube Jr., if you if you will. Alden Ehrenreich, Isaiah Whitlock Jr., Margot Martindale, and the late great Ray Liotta. Overall thoughts. Overall thoughts of Cocaine Bear. What a good time. This film was everything that I expected it to be. It checked all the boxes. Cocaine, check. Bear, check. So that it checked all the boxes. I mean, it was funny. It the bear was the bear was a character. It wasn't just this what I could say, blunt object, this just projectile missile just going through the film. No, the bear was actually a character. There were even moments in this film where you was feeling for the bear. You was actually, had emotions for this bear. Um, the supporting cast, and I say supporting because the bear is the star. I mean, his name is in the or her name. We found out in the film is a female bear. Spoiler, but the supporting cast, Kerry Russell, who I've always been a big fan of. What a what a joy to see her in here and to play the mama bear, if you would. Uh, O'Shea Jackson Jr. He is really becoming a solid actor. Um, he did a good job. Alden Ehrenreich, awesome job. I really enjoyed him. He slick style kind of stole the movie for me. Um, Last time I seen him was in Solo when he played young Han Solo, and I thought he did a decent job in that film, even though I had problems with Solo. Uh, kind of derailed him in a way, I guess you could say, as far as his career is concerned. But this was a real good performance by him. I loved his character, really did. Isaac, Isaiah Whitlock Jr. I mean, come on, man. He is always a joy to watch. Been watching, big fan of his from The Wire. Uh, he plays a detective in this film. Good job, man. And they had so many different storylines going through this film. I really wasn't expecting. I was caught off guard, really. I'm like, wait, there's more to this film than just a bear going on a cocaine bender. This actually had some story. To, you had some storylines with Isaiah Whitlock Jr.'s character. You had, of course, with Kerry Russell's character, with Alden Ehrenreich's character, even with O'Shea Jackson Jr.'s character. They had their own different storylines, and it helped move this movie along. Now, granted, those they were running parallel with one another. None of their storylines really collide so much. Maybe Alden Ehrenreich's character with Ray Liotta's character because they play father and son. But despite that, um, everything else was on their own track, and I, I appreciated this film for this because it just added so much. Another good thing about this film You sit down after all your previews, movie starts, and boom, we're in. As soon as the movie starts, you're in. Yeah, the bear, all this, it was. We didn't have to wait for an hour into the movie to see the bear go nuts. We go 5 minutes. I don't even think it was 5 minutes into this movie. As soon as the credits finished, the opening credits finished, we was off and running. In this movie, it's not long. It's an easy sit. It's an hour and what, maybe 30 minutes. Uh, Fast, flew by like nothing. Really nice pace to this type of film. It was no need to hang around, linger on with different type of stories. We need to wrap up this and wrap up that. No, it didn't have to go through all that, and I appreciated it for that. Um, but yeah, the acting top notch. I've already touched in on Kerry Russell, O'Shea Jackson, all them, but Margot Martindale, another character that almost stole this movie. This is a true ensemble piece. Every actor in this film was the star. There was no main star. Actually, the star, like I started off this show with, is the bear. This movie is about the bear. Everybody else in the film, at least our human characters in the film, are on their different little paths. You know what I'm saying? The bear is the one who brings them all together into this movie. And so, uh, poor Margot Martindale, who plays the park ranger, she gets the business throughout this whole movie. And I'm not spoiled. This is a non-spoiler review if you can't tell, but it was, man, her character, bro. But she was hilarious. And she, despite all she was going through, she was hilarious. Uh, Jesse Tyler Ferguson, who, if you're a fan, or at least was a fan of Modern Family, and you see him pop up in this film, first and foremost, I had to take a second and think, like, is that Jesse Tyler Ferguson? And it was him. He was, he didn't look like he did from that show. And I was like, oh my God, I loved his character. Hilarious. He was hilarious. And to sum up the ensemble cast perfectly would be that they were all perfectly cast, and they all had their moment to shine. And great job by not only the actors but Elizabeth Banks as well, for giving everybody their own little time to shine, yet and still not detracting from the bear, because the bear is the reason we went to go see this movie. Well, I say we, but me. And I went to see this movie, but it was good to see these different actors get their moments. The special effects on this bear was pitch perfect, man. I haven't seen special effects this good in a long time. Really, really awesome motion capture, I guess they used to get the movements of the bear and everything. But man, the close-ups on it and I mean, it looked perfect. It was seamless. Truly was. It was seamless. There was no point in this movie where I like, that's CG. Like, they could have touched that up a little better. No, I mean, it was done perfectly, real good. I mean, it makes you question, was this a real bear? Did they use did they train this bear? I mean, it looked that good. This was pitch perfect special effects. Um, and the great, I mentioned the actors, but I'll be remiss not to mention Ray Liotta. This film made me really miss Ray Liotta, and this film was dedicated to him at the end. Uh, Man, it really made me think back on, man, we're not gonna get this dude no more. And he has a small role, but it was an impactful role, and it was an important role uh concerning this plot. And man, I was like, oh man, we're not gonna get this dude no more because I really loved his character. Uh, my negatives, and I only have a couple. Uh, there's only really two scenes that I really didn't care for in this film. One, like towards the end of the first act, or maybe the start of the second act, where this is it spoilers? Well, I'll say it like this: there's a scene involving the two kids before they encounter the bear that I didn't care for. It is not because I'm a prude or anything. It was like it was pointless. That was the only pointless part of this movie that they could have kept out, and I thought that was kind of done stupidly. It was I don't know, but if you look online, they already talking about that scene and how it is very controversial. I'll just put it that way. But I'm not looking at it from that aspect of it, even though I could, and I understand where people are kind of complaining about that scene, but that's not the reason why I'm not like I don't like it because it kind of slowed the pace at that particular moment, and that's the only time that really happened. It slowed the pace at that point, and I just did not care for that scene. I was like, okay, we can keep it moving now. That was one negative, and my other negative is the end. Whereas that scene that I mentioned before, where it slowed the pace, the end felt like they just hit the gas. It went way too quick, way too quick. It just ended. you know, it was it was kind of rushed. It felt rushed at the end, and I understand they had to wrap this up. you know, they had to wrap it up. I get it, but it wasn't that big crescendo ending. You know what I'm saying? With the encounter with the bear and one of the characters or whatever. Somebody's gonna leave. Two men enter, one man leave type deal. No, it was just like it ended. And that was that. So those are my only two negatives. Overall, this was a surprisingly awesome movie. I was expecting good. That's all I wanted was good, and I got awesome. so that's a win-win. Cocaine Bear, directed by Elizabeth Banks, beautifully by Elizabeth Banks, gets a letter grade of a B plus. I thought it was awesome. I forgot to mention it was very gory, very gore. Didn't skip the gore, but with that being said, it wasn't too gory. If that makes any sense, it was yes, it was a lot of blood. There are a lot of body parts. The bear does what the bear does. it does what it does, but it wasn't just gory for gory's sake. If that makes any sense, it was done tastefully, I guess. but it wasn't too bad. I think this is a movie like if you are the type who don't like horror, don't like all the gore and the blood and the guts, you can go see this. Now, don't get me wrong. You do see that, but you don't actually see the act per se. You it's kind of like, without being blasphemous, it's kind of like Jaws. Like how Jaws let your imagination do the work. You remember that done beautifully by Steven Spielberg. This had remnants of that. The way the bear attacked, but it really didn't show the bear do it, do the ripping apart and all that there. So there's that. I guess that's the one spoiler that I let leak out. It wasn't that. So it's watchable. You can go watch it, and I highly recommend it. Cocaine Bear gets a B plus. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review. Don't forget, you can contact the show through email. You can look me up on Twitter at KB Radio Network and on all social media platforms. Uh, Speaking of platforms, wherever you are listening to this show, don't forget, leave the 5 stars, the reviews, sharing the show. If you're listening on YouTube or watching on YouTube, listening on YouTube, because there's the audio form on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, and you can share the show there as well. Everybody, thank you for joining me. Hope you all go out, check out Cocaine Bear. Let me know how you felt about it. I loved it. Hope you enjoy it too. Hope you enjoyed this review. Until next time, I want you all to know that I love you. Continue to love one another. And until we speak again, you all be blessed.